Well, today we have one of my favorite guests, as well as a regular here on Hope Heroes, Jeff May from the Dream City Foundation. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Aubrey.
We always have you here because what you do has to do with one of the biggest topics, hottest topics in our world right now. We need to talk about human trafficking and what is going on. Now, what we've learned over the times that you've been on set is that the Super Bowl has been a hot spot for human trafficking. And we learned that in 2023, the Super Bowl is coming to Phoenix. And Phoenix, I've heard, is one of the top hotspots for human trafficking as well. Can you talk about that?
Yes, for sure. So part of the reason Phoenix is such a hot spot is because of its location. We're close to the border of Mexico. We're close to California, but we're inland enough that we can be off of the radar of some of the coastal patrol. So Phoenix is a huge, Arizona is a huge hotspot for human trafficking. And so when when the Super Bowl is coming next year to Phoenix, that put on our radar, we need to really fight back, because whenever they announce a Super Bowl location, the traffickers move into the city years ahead of time and they begin to set up shop, they begin to put their networks up. And so we knew we had to fight back. And so we've developed a whole public awareness campaign that's called Hope Starts Here. And it's public awareness that shows people how to spot human trafficking, what to do if they spot it, and the steps that they can take to fight that. So that entails a lot of different industries. We have hangars that Uber and Lyft drivers can put in their car so that if somebody flying in from out of town happens to see something, they know what to do. We have signs that we're putting up in the bathrooms of airports that say, if you see something, if you see this, call this number, text this number. So we're doing a whole public awareness campaign. We're looking at partnering with the NFL as well. We've had some initial conversations about a partnership there because they want to fight it. So really over the next year, we're really going full force into educating people about human trafficking. And it's not just the Super Bowl. It's anytime there's a large sporting event or a large event. That's where people are, that's where the traffickers go.
So I want to get back to this network thing that these human traffickers have. How do we know about these networks? Is it the police that have told us over the years? Why have we not been able to shut these things down?
Yeah, that's a great question. Actually the last time the Super Bowl was in Phoenix is when this really came to light. We had been doing some efforts with human trafficking prior to that, but when that came into town, we realized, okay, this is very organized. And so the Phoenix Police Department, all of the law enforcement in Arizona have done a phenomenal job. In fact, I would actually say we lead the country in our fight against human trafficking. So we're aware of these networks because of our work with the people who are survivors, but also because of our relationship with all these different law enforcement agencies, ICE, Homeland Security, Phoenix Police Department, all the different city police departments. We work with them, and we do know that these networks are being set up.
So the girls who come out of the system, and now we know boys as well, and I'm horrified to hear that. I think we've gotten, in the best way possible, I try to say this, we sometimes get used to the idea that it's been girls in human trafficking, but it's a shock all over again to hear that boys are coming out of the human trafficking.
Yes, so 29% of people who are in human trafficking are males.
29%?
Yes.
Over a quarter?
Yes.
Has that grown over the years? Has it gotten worse?
The numbers have grown throughout the years, and the reality is wherever there are people who are willing to pay for this, then it's going to be an issue. And so our goal is to fight back on that.
So the boys and the girls who graduate into this program at the Phoenix Dream Center, and they're being rescued and rehabilitated, do they help create the strategies for what you guys are going to be doing for these public awareness campaigns? I'm sure they've seen the inside of how these systems work, and they tell you this would work, this wouldn't work.
Yes. So our survivors are a big part in helping us fight human trafficking.
Wow.
They give us the inside information on what their traffickers did for them and did with them. So they give us kind of the inside scoop on things. We have so many survivors that come through our program that's become a real valuable tool for us and a really valuable partnership.
Do you think they find healing through that, or do you feel like they relive the issues?
I would say a little bit of both. Most of them, though, find that they can turn their story into something positive, and that is healing for them more than triggering for the most part.
And so I'm really excited about this public awareness campaign
Yeah.
and what you guys are going to be doing. So are you partnering with Uber in the airports, or are you guys making partnerships to make these happen?
So we are in the process right now. So if anybody is watching and has partnership opportunities, please reach out to us. You can go to wherehopelives.org and find a place to click if you have interest. But we're looking to partner with those. This is a brand new initiative that we're just now launching. So we've had some successful partnerships already, some fantastic meetings that have taken place with some community leaders, but we are always looking for more partnerships. So if anybody watching has connections, please go to wherehopelives.org and they can find out how they could be a part of this.
And some of this is as simple as maybe letting a sticker go up in your bathroom, is what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we know that a lot of people are who come in from out of town, they go to the airport, and so we're putting stickers up in the restrooms at the airport and around different strategic spots around the city. Another really key component of this that is really important is the education piece that we're going to be doing with the schools.
Okay.
So we are launching a Hope Starts Here public awareness assembly campaign that's
Wow.
going to go into the schools all over Arizona. And we have 3 different assemblies. One assembly is for elementary kids, one is for middle school children, and the other is for high school students. Obviously, you can't talk to a 6-year-old
No.
about human trafficking, but you can talk to them about online safety and things that they can do to prevent it. And so we have these 3 assemblies that are being created, and we're actually just days away from finishing those, and so we're going to be looking to get in as many schools as possible next year, again leading up to the Super Bowl, but even really beyond. This is about the Super Bowl, it's an opportunity, but really it's beyond that, because human trafficking exists without a Super Bowl.
Yes.
In every city. So we're looking for partnerships in school districts. Again, if any administrators who have an interest, we come in and we have a whole program that we lay out. This is of no cost to the schools if they want to do this, and we provide education. It's a fantastic team of people who are going into these schools and bringing awareness. This was spurred on because we actually had an incident where a school administrator had a student that they suspected was being trafficked.
Oh my goodness.
This was an 11-year-old middle school student. And without getting into all the details, I would just say the way the school was going to handle it, this individual would certainly have been killed. Because of the way they wanted to handle it. But somebody inside the school said, I know somebody at the Where Hope Lives program. Let me just call them first and get a little bit of guidance. They called, and we were able to pivot them a whole different direction. And now this person has not only been rescued, they're getting help, and some justice is being done with the people who were potentially trafficking them. So part of this program is not just educating the students, but it's educating the teachers and administrators as well,
Wow.
so that they know, because there are things that you can do that could actually make it worse for the people being trafficked. And there are things as innocent as sending a note home, calling people that might be involved, and those people who might be involved could potentially be their traffickers. And so
Whoa.
we have our team is fantastic at making sure that these people get help, but sometimes that takes a little bit different road than you might think.
So you guys are an amazing resource to schools. I mean, how many kids in schools that we don't know about could potentially be trafficked every single day, and we're seeing them? So what a resource that Where Hope Lives is going to be to schools as well. So schools that are watching right now, this is all over the state of Arizona, they need to get in contact with you guys. Where can they get some information?
Again, if they'll go to wherehopelives.org,
Okay.
If they have interest in hosting a school assembly, there's a place there they can click and get more information on what that process looks like, and we can schedule that. We're scheduling assemblies for the 2022-2023 school years.
Okay.
We're not doing assemblies for the current school year.
Okay.
But we would love to partner with as many schools as possible, because we really believe, like at the core of what we're doing, that these assemblies are going to make a difference and take kids who might be heading down a dark path, not even knowingly.
Yeah.
They could be going just thinking that they're, having a good time, but a little bit of knowledge can change the direction and the trajectory of a kid's life.
That's incredible. Now, you mentioned something to me before we started our interview about how can kids help? How do kids help with this issue? Is it through education? What are you teaching them in these assemblies?
Aubrey, that is a great question. I'm glad you asked because really education is key to prevention of beginning in human trafficking. Very, very few people who are involved in human trafficking set out for that path. The vast majority of them, almost everybody, falls into it by accident. And those things, just a few little things can prevent that. But the number one thing they can do is monitor their online activity. And parents, they need to be involved with their kids' online activities. My kids, I still have kids in school, and occasionally I'll take my son's phone, and I'll say, hey, I trust you, but I'm just going to make sure we're good.
Yeah.
And so parents need to be doing that starting as soon as they get a phone, as soon as they have any access to online. That could even be through gaming, because these traffickers, they'll catfish people and they'll pose as something that they're not, or they'll work their way into these friend networks. So a kid might say, well, my friend knows them, they're really good friends with my friend, but they really don't know them. So parents need to tell their kids, you should only be friends with people you actually know. And parents need to know who their kids are friends with online, because that's the number one way that these traffickers are using right now.
One thing I've heard about is Roblox, how dangerous the game Roblox is. And it's like a phenomenon, is that the right word?
Yeah.
Among our kids right now is the game Roblox. I watched one of the kids in our youth group play it, and I'm watching these conversations take place on the video game and these random people saying awful things. And I'm like, this is a child's game. These are adults, obviously adults having conversation. It's scary. So parents are right, you're right, need to be watching what these kids are chatting about and who they're chatting with on these video games.
Absolutely. That's the number one thing that parents can do.
Thank you so much for being on here. Education is key. And every time you're on here, we learn more and we get more educated.
Thanks so much for having me, Aubrey.
Well, Jeff May is the executive director of the Dream City Foundation, and his mission is to help educate the world about what is happening with human trafficking. You heard it yourself. Education is key. So if you're at a school, maybe you're an administrator, you can get involved and educate your kids about what is happening with human trafficking. And then you also heard about our public awareness campaign. Maybe you're a business in Arizona or a business anywhere that wants to get involved in the fight against human trafficking. Go to wherehopelives.org to find out how you can get involved.